Anybody get a rate? Should be 5 something, 5 point something.
Is it 5.5?
5 point, remember you got to go to 4 places. 5.5193 is what I got.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if I can do something here. Okay, do you see Excel? Do you see an Excel worksheet?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's see, can I blow this up? Let's see. Okay. That's not going to work. All right, let me, if I make it too small, you can't see it, but if I make it too big, it takes up too much room. All right, let's see how this works. So for part 1 of this, right, we're gonna do that traditional approach. The traditional approach. Right, and under that traditional approach, we calculate one overhead rate. And the way we do that is we take the total estimated overhead, right? The total estimated overhead, which was 303,560, and we divide it by the cost driver. And the cost driver in the problem was machine hours, I believe, right? Machine hours. Machine hours. So we have to add 25,000 plus 30,000 together. Right, that's 55,000 machine hours. And when we do that, we get 5.5193 rounded to 4 places. Right, rounded to 4 places. Now we have a standard, these are calculators. We have a standard calculator, right, and a deluxe calculator. For the standard calculator, it was 25,000 machine hours times the rate that we just calculated. We calculated a rate of 5.5193. Right, so that will give us $137,982.50. The deluxe machine takes 30,000 machine hours times the same rate, right? And that comes out to $165,579. Right? Now, in an ideal world, we would add those two numbers together and it would come out to this original 303,560. It comes close, but due to the rounding, it's not exact, right? So, that's one of the ways you check yourself is to see if when you add the two numbers together, it comes out to the number that you started with. And, sometimes it will, most of the time it should, but here, because of the rounding, it's a few dollars off. I think it's like $1.50 off. Now, under ABC, instead of one rate, we're going to have two. We're going to have materials handling, right? And we're going to have setup. For the materials handling, we're going to take the amount of overhead that was allocated to materials handling, which was $140,000, right? If you go back and read the problem, 140,000 is materials handling and 163,560 is setup. But we're going to take the 140,000 and divide it by the number of moves. Now, they weren't really clear about that, so you had to use a little common sense to figure that out, right? Because, again, there's a setup pool, which only makes sense that it's based on the number of setups. The materials handling is based on the number of moves. So what's the total number of moves? We would have to add 550 plus 850 together, and that comes out to 1,400. So 140,000 divided by 1,400 is $100 per move, right? Every time we make a move, it costs $100. For setup, the total was 153,560, and we have to divide that by the number of setups. So again, if you go back to the problem, 80 plus 500 is 580. That comes out to $282 per setup. So now what we have to do is we're going to take the standard calculator and we're going to take materials handling, right? Materials handling. How many moves were there for the standard calculator, 500 times 100 per move, right? So that came out to 55,000, right? And then we do the same thing for the number of setups, right? For the number of setups, we had 80 setups, and each setup cost $282, right? Which comes out to 22,560. And if I add those two amounts together, that comes out to 77,560. So the total overhead assigned to the standard calculator is 77,560, right? Total overhead. Now we also had a deluxe model, right? We had a deluxe model. And we do more or less the same thing. We take materials handling, right? And setups. So when it comes to materials handling, how many moves did we have? We had 850 moves times $100 a move, which is $85,000. And how many setups did we have? We had 500 setups, and each one cost $282. So that comes out to $141,000. And if I add the two of those together, that comes out to $226,000. Okay. Now, if I add 226,000, right? If I add this 226 and this 77,560 together, it comes out to exactly the number that I began with. And what was the number I began with? 303,560, right? So under ABC, the numbers tie out exactly. Standard plus deluxe. Under traditional, it comes close. It's $1 off. It's not a big deal, right? But this gives us a more accurate way of measuring overhead, actual versus estimated. And again, you know, a year from now, we may look at it differently, depending on how close we come. All right, so any questions? Right, and this was exercise 14, 4-14. All right, so, you know, again, this is not debits and credits anymore, right? This is a little more analytical. And again, you know, the first time you look at it, it doesn't always make a lot of sense. You have to work with it a little bit, give it a chance, and try. You know, this problem you didn't have for homework, I just threw an extra one in here to give you some more practice. All right, so are there any questions? Okay, so you have your exam coming up in a few days, right? Let's, maybe we should go take another. Just to make sure we're all on the same page. Oh, no, you don't. You don't have an exam due for a while. Right. The next exam is due on chapters 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So we're okay. You have a little bit of a break, but you do have homework that's due tomorrow. Right. October 23rd. All right. So any questions? Right. I mean, you know, if you're having problems, you got to reach out. You got to ask for help. It's not going to get better by itself. You know, in the beginning, I gave you the information on the Learning Center, right? You should reach out to them, see if you can get some help that way if you need it. But you know, if you email me, if you want to set something up where we can chat, I mean, I will try. I can't guarantee anything will come out of it because ultimately you have to do your work. You're responsible for your work. All right? Any question? Okay. So have a nice weekend, and I will see you next week. I'll send the invitation right out.
You too, Professor. Have a
Good
good
weekend.
Thank you,
weekend.
Professor.
Have a good weekend.
You too.